All right, my role with the Department of Veterans Affairs. You heard the term Veterans Administration. That is when I first started with the VA for the first year, that's a term I used, but that term actually is not descriptive of the Department of Veterans Affairs. VA means Veterans Affairs. The United States government is Department of Veterans Affairs, and I had to be corrected on that many times. I encourage you to, when you think VA, say think Veterans Affairs. And what I use now is Department of Veterans Affairs, a little longer. And I am one of the two caregiver support coordinators with the VA Caregiver Support Coordinator with all of the Battle Creek VA Medical Health Care System. There's my information. The other one is Julie, and Julie is a nurse. I'm just going to stand here. Julie is a nurse, and we've been working together for about 6 months. She's been such a great asset to my program because she understands the medical side so much better than I do. And I understand the resource side better. And so we've been having a lot of fun really developing this program. There's an address. The address you will see on my cards is different than that because I work out of Grand Rapids. But the phone number is the same. And this is just a generic address. This means where I work at in Grand Rapids. That's the mail code. Okay. We're going to look briefly, very briefly, at veteran services so you understand a little bit of the split here. Lee will help with that too. A little bit about the VA Caregiver Support Program, my role. I don't think that's actually in there anymore. I think I took that out. Maybe it is. Program of Comprehensive Assistance for Family Caregivers, General Caregiver Benefits, Veterans Benefits Administration Program. That's actually what Lee's going to talk about. And then it says the bottom line. You look here, there is a lot of things that happen within the VA. Some of them are even cut off here. I'll tell you what that is. You have the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. And it has 3 parts. The Veteran Federal Cemeteries, the Veterans Benefits Administration, which is what Lee's going to tell you about, and the Veterans Health Administration, which is what I work for. So there's 3 parts. And you have to remember, you don't have to worry about the cemeteries. But the other 2, the benefits is exactly that. It's benefits with the exception of one benefit, and that's health care. Veterans Health Administration is the health care. So that's a key thing there because anything that's health care goes to VHA, anything that's benefits goes to Lee and other veteran service officers in counties and whatever. State of Michigan has Department of Military and Veteran Affairs, which includes the Veterans Homes, Veterans Trust Fund, Veterans Affairs offices in each county, Veterans Service Organizations, and they have Veterans Service Officers also, tuition grant programs, depository for veterans records. Then you have your Disabled American Veterans, American Legions, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Marine Corps League, and you have, this is what this says, there's multiple organizations that are springing up for these post-911 veterans. And you hear about them all the time, Wounded Warriors, all sorts of them, Miami Way. All sorts of organizations. And that's wonderful, but it's a little confusing. So you understand why people are confused about veteran services. One thing that's really good that is happening, and this is really developed within the last couple months. I was at a meeting in Grand Rapids, and there, the head of the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs in the state of Michigan was there. It's a new gentleman. And he is forming something that you're familiar with, the idea of no wrong door for veterans. And you know what I told him about that day? I told him one of the things that the ADRCs, because I'm familiar with those in my second role with the Department of Veterans Affairs at Battle Creek VA, which is Veteran Community Partnerships. I told them that the ADRCs are interested in having a veteran component in there, and the VA has not tapped into it. I'm probably the only person at Battle Creek Medical Health Care System, that's not true, maybe 2 or 3 of us, that even know about ADRCs, unfortunately. And that's because I have worked with a partnership with a number of area agencies on aging, including this one, and the one in Kalamazoo and Battle Creek. And so I told this director, I said, that's something that's an initiative from the state of Michigan. You need to tap into that rather than creating a whole other system for veterans. And it sparked an idea. He already had a meeting set up with the Offices of Services to the Aging. And I said, you need to meet with the Disability Network, and you need to join that all together. Because that's what that's for. And don't recreate the wheel. We'll see what happens.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Because I knew about ADRCs and I knew we had been recruited. About in 2009, I became involved as a point of contact for caregiver support. And then you'll see May of 2010, Congress passed a bill which gave money for caregiver services within the VA. And in April of 2011, I became the full-time caregiver support coordinator. Because I've been the point of contact, it just moved me into that role. And I'll tell you about these other services. One of those is, and you'll see a card on the table, a little card like this, a business card, that gives you the number for the VA caregiver support line. That's a national support line that any veteran can call and get information about VA services. If the call is appropriate to be referred to a caregiver support coordinator, then they will send that to a combined computer system that we have. They will send me a contact for that person. I will call them within 5 days and connect with them and figure out how we can help. A lot of times those are referrals to some of the other resources within the VA. And that is one of my roles as a social work caregiver support coordinator, is to field calls. Julie does home visits. That's not all she does, but that's one of her roles. So often she's not even anywhere near a phone to take the call. So that's my role. And any number you see for Julie will be my number, because I also help her set up her appointments and all these kind of things. But that started in February 1 of 2011, and I came on board of April 2011, and then the programs have rolled out from there. Another really, really good resource, I couldn't find this any other way, I couldn't find the website itself to take a screenshot, unfortunately. You will see right down here, www.caregiver.va.gov. Great website for caregivers of veterans and for your information as well. You will see that in various places. I wonder if it's on here. Yeah, it's on there. It's on, another thing that's back there is information about the Battle Creek VA caregiver support program. It's on there. And for example, here's something that came from that, Caregiver Resource Directory. And all sorts of resources for veterans. Now, I don't have one of those back there for you. That would have been pretty expensive. Okay, here's what Julie and I do. We work with the caregivers of veterans, and you can read that. I'm not going to read that to you. I'll give you a minute. I'd like to say we're doing all of this stuff, but we're not, because there's too much to do and too few of us. I'm sure everybody can understand that. So we've set some priorities. Okay? We also work with the VA Medical Center staff to really serve as an expert on caregivers with that. One of the things we're working on right now is a program that we're going to hold in Grand Rapids for what we call our family caregivers. That's caregivers of post-911 veterans. To really help them. What we found is most of these folks are just like our college students, but they've been to war. but they have the same developmental issues. So we're going to talk about some of those types of things and hopefully help them with their new marriages, with their parenting, with with learning more about PTSD, suicide, things like that. And then we work with the community. And one of my roles there has been working with Veteran Community Partnership. That's just as of yesterday is changing a little bit, and my co-coordinator is going to really work with the Southwest Michigan area, and I'm working with an organization that's developing up in the Grand Rapids area called the Greater Grand Rapids Veteran Services Forum, and really working to have the Department of Veterans Affairs involved with that more, the VHA side of the Department of Veterans Affairs. All right, so this was the law I told you about that was passed. It was much more than caregivers in that law, but that's the first time the VA had ever written a law that included funding for caregivers. And here's basically what the law did. Now, this you're going to find on these two fact sheets. It looks completely different, doesn't it? But that's exactly what we're talking about here. And the key here is this is all inclusive, and then down, and these are the most. You see the term family caregivers and general caregivers. General caregivers are any veteran of any age who needs a caregiver and needs support. And you see some of the services there. Those are also listed on this fact sheet. It says, fact sheet, caregiver benefits for veterans of all eras. And again, I'm not going to take a lot of time going over those. Take a minute, look at it, and I'll shut up for a minute. Take a minute, look at that, look at this, and you'll get a sense of what we offer. Also, this VA Care Assistant spells those out in detail. So these are just, I want to make sure you have something in your hand, because you're not going to remember everything I say. But you can take this and say, this is what the VA offers in terms of services. On the back, you see VBA, and the program, particularly aid and attendance, which Lee will tell you more about. I'm not going to steal his thunder.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we have a second group, and that's family caregivers and primary family caregivers. These are secondary caregivers. And I'm going to tell you more about that in detail. I will tell you about the other in detail as well. Okay. To qualify as a family caregiver, and this is the post-911 veterans at present, Congress said we are going to offer a stipend to these veterans, the caregivers of these veterans, and also provide them the things you saw there, which include respite if they want it, which actually all veterans can get that, training, if we will pay for transportation. We've flown a veteran and his caregiver into from Las Vegas into Battle Creek to get psych treatment, and we paid for the caregiver to come along. She then flew back, and she flew in twice more, and we paid for all of that for her. And other benefits as well. You'll see those listed here. But here's the key. It's a veteran injured in the line of duty after September 11th of 2001, injured in the line of duty. You never see the word illness there. It's injured in the line of duty. What that includes is the common injuries you're hearing about, PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, blast injuries, which could be spinal, which could be back, which could be knees, amputations. So you're seeing physical needs, ADLs, and you're also seeing mental health needs. And then you have to need a caregiver. We have to be able to identify that, and we have to find that it's in the best interest of the veteran. And that's determined more by the doctors, nurses, that sort of thing, psychologists. And here's the caregiver benefits for veterans of all eras. I'm not going to dwell on that because it's on that same sheet. And then you have the split between the Veterans Health Administration, again, health care. A key contact in the VA is always a social worker. If you want to try to find out who to reach, contact a social worker. Nothing else. Remember this. Social work services, they're going to hate me for this, because that's who I work under. Social work services at Battle Creek VA Medical Center. I even give you their extension. Extension 31625. Extension 31625. They will get you to a social worker who will be able to send you to the person that you want to go to. But first try the 800 number and ask for the call center. So 888-214-1247. You'll see that in a minute. Call that number or call a Benton Harbor clinic and ask them your question. They may connect you with the call center. And or if you're not getting any help from that, call a social work service or call me. This slide is reflected here, and I'm running out of time, so it's reflected in here, and you can read all the details of that. You see a bunch of different programs. I will tell you about one, home-based primary care. You know how it's skilled nursing in the community? Medicare skilled nursing, that's basically what this is, but it's, you can only at most give one visit a week, not 5 if you need it or whatever. Normally it's a couple a month or once a month. And here's some of the social workers. And you see that 800 number there, the Battle Creek VA Health System. And you see a social worker reflected at every one of our facilities there. This is the role that I used to have, the primary care social worker at the Grand Rapids VA Outpatient Clinic. Allison took my place when I left. She's wonderful. And you'll see Carl here at Benton Harbor. Carl has a tough position because she's not only dealing with these programs, but she's also a therapist. So she's seeing veterans one-on-one with doing therapy, advanced directives, our in-home community services. And then there's Grand Rapids Clinic, which is the largest Grand Rapids clinic, serves more veterans than the Battle Creek Medical Center does on a daily basis because of Grand Rapids being right there, and Battle Creek, and then you see Benton Harbor. Not small. What questions do you, I don't know how much time I have, but what questions do you have?
A couple minutes.
Okay, let me share also. This is a guide to all of Battle Creek Mental Health Services. This is a general guide to Battle Creek. You see the numbers on there for Battle Creek. And it lists everything we do, which is a great thing. This is information about the VA medical foster homes. We don't pay for foster homes, the person does, but we set up some medical foster homes and provide support services. The vet center is a VHA service. The closest contact for a vet center, you have to actually go through this, is in Kalamazoo. And they have somebody they contract with there. Okay, what questions?
Maybe after Lee does his, if you can stick around,
I
Jim.
can.
After Lee does his presentation, they may have questions that will end up being for both of you. So if the two of you want to switch, and if some of you want to pick up those handouts while they're switching gears here, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, we're going to follow this with a break, and you can pick them up then. Don't close the machine.
I will not. Okay, after that's done.
Well, I'll stay by the computer because I'll be switching slides.